is the Kansas City Chiefs Radio Network.
Sports 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
That works out like a pretty smooth transition. Mitch getting you hyped up about the game on Sunday that we all got a chance to see yesterday afternoon, getting us ready for the Monday night game early next week against the Commanders. Well, for the first time all year, it feels a little bit more like the way it has been with Patrick Mahomes as the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's always fun to be a Chiefs fan, but it's felt a little bit less fun than it has been for the last 7 or 8 years to begin this season. Not anymore. Pretty exciting times once again here in the Kansas City metro area. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan. Logan Weber here with you. Nick Price is alongside. He's going to be producing the program here for us. We're with you till 9 o'clock this evening. We are, of course, going to lead things off talking Chiefs, Raiders, and the beatdown that we saw 24-plus hours ago. We've got Monday Night Football, 2 games going on tonight. We've got Texans Seahawks. That game's about 2 hours away from kickoff. But we've got Lions and Buccaneers. That game on right now as we speak. We've got a Game 7 in the NLCS to talk about tonight. We've got college football news. The Week 7 slate of NFL games to break down as best we can. And for those who care, which there's not many in this area, the NBA is back tomorrow, officially. First games of the NBA season tomorrow night.
That's crazy.
It's weird,
too
man.
early. It's too early. There's so much other good stuff going on. You know? Game 7, World Series coming up, like right in the stretch of college football, NFL.
Yeah.
I don't need it yet.
We have reached a point now where somehow all 3 of these sports professionally are happening simultaneously. There's something not right about that. Like, the game of basketball feels like a sport that should be played between the months of, like, November and April. But somehow, the NBA season is now so obscenely long that it goes from October to June. So, we're looking at July, August, and September are the only months of the year that do not have NBA. So, we're 9 months out of the year, we have the NBA now. The NFL season goes from August to February. The baseball season is from March to October. Hey, guys, I think we might be going a little bit over to the top here. Just a little bit. But I'm not going to complain. I'm a sports guy, so as much as, as many sports as I can possibly absorb is fine by me.
Well, when the NBA is doing like a 4-month playoff anyway, and they have like in-season tournaments and all that, I'm not too surprised to know that like it's already starting up.
Yeah.
But not a huge NBA guy, as I know like a lot of people in Kansas City not having a team. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but what is the biggest thing in the world? Kansas City Chiefs football.
You damn right it is. And how about yesterday's performance? A 31-0. I mean, like a beatdown doesn't feel like a strong enough word. A drubbing doesn't feel like a strong enough word. Frankly, the only words strong enough to describe what the Chiefs did to the Raiders yesterday are not FCC approved for the airwaves, so we'll avoid them at all costs. It was a 31-0 win yesterday for the Kansas City Chiefs. First point, we'll continue to get it out of the way as quickly as possible. If you have a loved one or a family member who says that Patrick Mahomes is not an MVP candidate, remove that person from your life. Or get them checked out by a licensed physician because there might be something medically wrong with them. This man is playing unbelievable football right now. He only played 3 quarters yesterday against the Raiders, and he was 26 of 35 passing for 286 and 3 touchdowns. He was unreal, and he was already playing at a high clip. You get Rashee Rice back into this offense. What does Rashee do yesterday? 7 catches for 42 yards. I know that the yardage is not overly impressive, but he had 2 touchdown catches in this game, one on that little jet touch pass that he had to work through a violent face mask in order to put himself into the end zone. And then the second one, a difficult back shoulder grab on what looked initially like it was going to be a fade route. Mahomes just kind of put it on him. Rashee has to contort his body in midair. Great hands, great ball control to come down with a score. This Chiefs offense is so back. Like all the way back, it's unbelievably like Legion of Zoom levels of back is where this Chiefs offense is currently sitting.
Well, and you kind of look at the stats and everything, and yeah, the 40-something yards yesterday from Rice, maybe it doesn't pop off the stat sheet if you weren't watching that game, which if you're a national person and you're not watching the 31-0 game, I don't really blame you. But honestly, we were at the game yesterday. I was there with my dad, and it had a vibe of like the third preseason game of old, where you see 3/4 of the starters and everybody's getting their touches and we're just rotating guys in, seeing what we got. That's exactly what it felt like at Arrowhead yesterday. It was a preseason game.
Oh, yeah. When we're sitting in the press box at yesterday's game, at the early to mid part of the fourth quarter, we started like looking around at the parking lot area surrounding Arrowhead because you can see it from different vantage points inside the press box. There were more people getting into their cars or in their cars in the parking lot than there were inside the stadium by that point. It was one of those, and we haven't seen that by the Kansas City Chiefs in quite some time. And I know that there's going to be people out there, and again, ignore those people who say, oh, well, yeah, you won 31-0, but it was against the Raiders. Okay, have you watched the Kansas City Chiefs over the last 3 years? They haven't had a game anywhere near this level, and they've done it twice this season. They took care of business. They blew out the Baltimore Ravens back in week 3 of this season, and then they did it again today. That's something we haven't seen the Chiefs do the last couple of years. They've made enough plays to win a ton of football games the past couple of seasons, but they haven't. It never feels like they're putting a team away. They always let them hang around and then have to come up with those late game heroics. This year's team feels like it's reaching a point now between the Ravens game and the Lions game and the game against the Ravens earlier in the year. This team, this offense especially, is capable of just putting their foot on somebody's neck, putting the nail in the coffin, and not giving an opponent that unrealistic expectation of winning the football game. Because as good as the Chiefs have been, we saw at the beginning of this year with the Chargers game and the Eagles game that they were playing well enough to win at points, and even the Jaguars. But they let these teams hang around. They let the game stay close until the very end, and when those heroics needed to happen in the fourth quarter, they didn't. The defense gave up big plays. The offense made mistakes. It just felt like this team needed to get back to the levels that we saw in 2018, 2019, 2020, and even bleeding into 2021 some, where if you've got a team down, bury them and make sure they stay there. I mean, Chiefs had 30 first downs yesterday to 3 for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders had as many offensive plays as the Chiefs had first downs. That's disgusting. And that is a true, without question, 4-quarter, all 3 phases of the football style domination. The defense was fantastic. Did it happen against the bad Raiders offense? You bet it did. It's still the first shutout for the Kansas City Chiefs in a decade. Hasn't happened since that 2015 playoff game against the Texans. That's how long it's been. It's unbelievable. And you go back to regular season, that's the first shutout for Andy Reid as the head coach of the Chiefs in a regular season game. The last time it happened was 2011. Todd Haley was the head coach. And I think we all want to forget about that era. One of the last forgotten remnants in the record books of that era of the Kansas City Chiefs is now gone with this win yesterday.
I think the biggest thing, too, and I know that at the start of the year, a lot of people around Kansas City, they were a little shaky on this team. You're coming off that big Super Bowl loss. You come out 0-2, just looking flat, not looking like themselves. They're not making the plays that they usually make. But now that we're at this point in the season, you've got to be thinking this is probably the best offense that Mahomes has had in his tenure here. Now, you can maybe say, the 2018 season for sure, because 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, the whole thing. But when it comes to weapons and depth and the ability to do just so many different things, and we're going to get over it over the course of these next 2 hours here, but this is what people have been asking for from the Chiefs for a long time is you're playing an inferior opponent like the Las Vegas Raiders, go out there and beat them, but not just beat them. Not just beat them by a score or beat them by 10 points. Go make sure that the parking lot's clear by the fourth quarter for all the fans heading home, because that's how bad you put the beat down on the Raiders. That's what we've been asking for.
No question about it. And I looked at the box score yesterday, and the thing that stood out to me, maybe more so than anything, and you talk about the weapons. I love you bringing up the point that this is maybe the best offense Mahomes has ever had, because I have that in my rundown tonight. I thoroughly believe that as well as you do. I think top to bottom, weapons, offensive line play, running backs a little skeptical, but all in all, I think this is the best unit he's ever had. And one aspect of this box score from yesterday's game, I think, proves that. Mahomes is notorious for spreading the ball around, for getting different guys involved, right? It's not out of the ordinary for Mahomes to have passes completed to 7, 8, 9 different receivers in a game. He completed passes to 9 separate players in the game yesterday against the Raiders. Typically, when that happens, you hear names you're not accustomed to hearing, right? In those games where Demetrius Harris would have a catch or two in a game, or Blake Bell would have a grab, Carson Steele caught a pass. These sort of guys that you didn't. Sky Moore has a catch here or there. There were guys that you were like, oh, great, McCole Hardman still catching passes in this offense in 2024. Listen to the 9 names that caught passes for the Chiefs yesterday. Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Brashard Smith, who we'll get into a little bit later on because I am very, very high on Brashard Smith's potential in this offense. Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, Noah Gray, Hollywood Brown, Isaiah Pacheco. Those are 9 pretty talented football players that he has opportunities to throw passes to. I mean, Noah Gray is a guy that I think could start for a handful of NFL teams. I think without question. Tyquan Thornton is now seemingly, after being the Chiefs' top receiver for 4 weeks, he's now the wide receiver 5 of this offense.
He's buried on the depth chart now.
He's being buried. Juju Smith-Schuster is being buried. Jalen Royals is a guy we all loved coming out of the April draft and into minicamp and into training camp. He's not even getting opportunities to touch the field right now because of how talented the guys are ahead of him. We finally got to see Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy on the same field for the first time in a Chiefs uniform. And that was so much fun to see. It was fun to see those 3 guys being out there opening up lanes for Travis Kelce to get more involved in the game.
Little side note for you too, Logan, that was kind of funny. I feel like it was almost intentional by Andy, but we've been waiting so long to see Rice, Worthy, and Hollywood. For the first drive, really all the way until they got all the way down the field, they kept subbing one of them out every single time. You're like, man, this is never going to happen. It's never going to happen, right?
They were dangling the carrot with us. We were talking about it in the press box. All of us sitting up there is like, okay, oh, hey, Hollywood's coming. Oh, he's coming in for Worthy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, Rasheed's coming into the game. Oh, he's going in for Hollywood. It just felt like you were getting 2 of the 3, but none of the. And then we got all 3 of them.
And when it happened, it was beautiful.
And there was
beautiful.
The first play, they're all 3 in the game. There's a penalty that sort of negated the play, and you're like, okay. But we did get opportunities to see those guys go out and compete. And it was fun, man. It was fun to watch. It was fun to see the defense have the kind of day that they did. Chris Jones notched the only sack of this football game for the Raiders. And yeah, you're looking at it as from the perspective of, well, you only sacked Geno Smith 1 time. And that's a fair criticism because that continues to be a problem for this Kansas City Chiefs front 7 is their inability to get to the quarterback. But they pressured Geno Smith quite a bit in this football game and made life pretty difficult on him. The secondary gave them pretty much nothing. And I mean, their longest reception for the game was 14 yards. That was it. 14 yards. Noah Gray, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, Brashard Smith, and Travis Kelce all had catches longer than that in this football game. It would have been like the 8th longest reception of the day for the Chiefs, and it was the longest of the day for the Raiders. And, I mean, we saw Noel Williams a lot more in this football game again on Sunday. He's a guy. Yes, he's a guy you're starting to see more and more snaps from. Ashton Gelati saw a lot of snaps yesterday. Brashard Smith, another guy who saw snaps yesterday. And we'll talk about Brashard Smith coming up next. We'll also get into another rookie for the Kansas City Chiefs that, despite us seeing him more over the first 7 weeks, we will not see him again this season, and what it means for the Chiefs defense possibly moving forward. 913-586-7965 is our number. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber, Nick Price, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Tip off the pro basketball season Tuesday night at Twin Peaks with a doubleheader featuring the defending champs OKC. With bar stools and corner booths that rival courtside seats, the Lodge is your Hoops HQ all season long. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
If you're in the market for a new home or looking to sell your home, you need to contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. And with so much inventory coming on the market, buyers have choices. The Sharp Homes team helps you stage, photograph, and present your home so it's qualified buyers remember and want to fight to buy your home. Contact Dawn and her team via Google. You can just Google Sharp Homes Team. That's Sharp Homes Team. And start packing.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while. And I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do. And everybody just said surgery. And surgery was months of rehab. And I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Okay, I have to tell you. I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Fast cars, barbecue, and live music. Bring the family for Burnouts, a car show, Kid Zone, and Chris Jansen live Saturday night. It's Boost and Barbecue next Friday, October 24th and Saturday, October 25th at Flying H Drag Strip, Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free. Online at boostandbbq.com. Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom. We've got a powerhouse lineup of guests this season. Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler bring you insight from the booth to the field on weekdays and game days. Insider scoops from Nate Taylor and Josh Briscoe keep you up to date all week long. Former linebacker Derek Johnson. And oh yeah, two-time MVP Patrick Mahomes. Don't miss a minute all season long right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Well, might be time to pour one out for the Baker Mayfield MVP campaign. He is not wowing so far in this first half of Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff is 12 of 16 for 175 yards and a touchdown. Baker is 6 of 12 for 24 yards, and he's been sacked twice.
It's a Geno stat line.
That is not good.
No. Hey, to be fair, in Baker, it's always the fourth quarter.
Good point.
We'll see how it goes.
Good point.
Ooh, they're carting off Mike Evans right now.
Yeah, he went down with a leg injury that did not look good. I maybe that's unfair, right? There is a second half of football to be played, but Mahomes did torch this exact same defense without Brian Branch for 257 yards and 3 touchdowns. And so far, not so good. The Buccaneers may have just fumbled that football, too. That's going to be reviewed for sure, because I'm not sure if the receiver ever had possession and made a football move. But we shall see. It's not been a good day for Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers thus far. A good day for you, though. You were telling me during the break that you put a little cheddar cheese on Jahmyr Gibbs in this football game, and you've already made money, my friend.
Yeah, 80 yards. I moved it down, too. It's part of a parlay with a touchdown, but 80 total yards from Jahmyr Gibbs, and that was cashed basically on one run.
Literally.
10 minutes ago.
A 78-yard touchdown run in which he dusted everybody on the field. That looks like a fumble from my vantage point. And the fact that they called it a fumble on the field means that they need irrefutable video evidence to overturn. That one's going to be interesting. But getting back to the matter at hand, we were talking about the Chiefs drubbing of the Raiders yesterday, that 31-0 loss. And I walked away from that game, and I tweeted this out while the game was going on. Like, before we got to the fourth quarter and all the starters were getting pulled and everything, that when it comes to Brashard Smith and his subtle, addition to this offense feels a little bit like Isaiah Pacheco in 2022, where at the beginning of the year, we didn't see a lot of him. And then as the season went on, we started to see more and more and more and more. And by week 10, he was the starter. And I sort of get a similar feeling when it comes to Brashard Smith. Now, if all you saw was the box score yesterday, you probably weren't overly impressed with Brashard Smith's day. If you didn't watch the game itself, and if you haven't been watching this Chiefs team, because, 14 carries for 39 yards in yesterday's game, you're like, oh, okay, that's it. Like 12 of those carries came in the fourth quarter, where he's in at running back, Gardner Minshew's in at quarterback. The Chiefs obviously aren't going to throw the football. They're just running the clock out. So the Raiders have 8 guys in the box, and it really did Brashard Smith, I believe, a little bit of a disservice in this football game, that he wasn't getting the right opportunities to showcase himself in the running game. Nature of the beast, I suppose, but I just think there's something different with Brashard Smith than with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, right? Kareem Hunt is your short yardage. He's just we need to get us 2 back, right? And yesterday, Kareem Hunt, 4 carries for 18 yards, including a 9-yard run in this one. He left the game briefly with what looked to be like some sort of a leg injury, and we still saw a little bit of him throughout the game, but we didn't see a ton, right? Obviously, he only had 4 carries in this football game. Isaiah Pacheco had a decent day, 15 carries, 57 yards, and his first rushing touchdown of the season. Took 7 games, but he finally has a rushing touchdown. Now, some of that's because when the Chiefs get down inside the 5-yard line, it's Kareem Hunt time. And you also have a difficult time at any point in a football game taking the ball out of the hands of number 15. Pacheco doesn't get a lot of opportunities to run, to get rushing touchdowns. But I think barring the Chiefs trading for a running back, which as the weeks go on feels increasingly unlikely. I was a huge advocate for it 3 weeks ago, but since that point, there has been a much more emergent position of need for this Kansas City Chiefs team that's become, I think, fairly obvious for everybody. And unfortunately, it's not the running back room. Would it be super exciting to see a Breece Hall or an Alvin Kamara or a Devon Achane infused into this Chiefs offense, a 3-down back, somebody who can make things happen? Oh my God, absolutely. This Chiefs offense could average 40 plus a game with that. I think that they're pretty comfortable averaging 30 a game with this litany of good enough running backs and a wide receiver room or a weapons room of receivers and tight ends that is borderline unrivaled by anybody else in the National Football League.
And that's the thing. I mean, you just answered the question of, are they going to go out and get a running back? The answer is no.
No.
Because the offense is performing extremely well. I mean, in the last segment, we talked about it might be performing better than it has in 7 years, And I remember I was up here, it was probably week 2, week 3, when things were looking a little bit more grim, and I hopped on with Jay Binkley, and my whole thing was you got to go get a running back. I don't know if it's Kamara, I don't know if it's Breece Hall, you give him a deal, or if it's somebody like an Algier or like more of a backup kind of guy, but you needed that at the time. The more that I look at this team now, you don't really need it. And to your point, too, you're talking about like the similarities of Brashard Smith at this point in the season and when we saw Pacheco. I think this is also just kind of how Andy handles his offensive rookies because same kind of deal with Xavier Worthy last year. He comes out, he's more of a gadget guy, some jet sweeps. They've got 1 or 2 plays a game that they've really chalked up as like, hey, this is your chance here. And then as we start to get in the back half of that season or injuries pile up, other different things, maybe it's lack of productivity on certain players, you start to see a little bit more play and a little bit more of that free range. And to a similar extent, we saw the same thing with Rashee Rice the year before.
Exactly where I was going to go. Yeah, with Rashee 2 years ago.
So, I mean, this is just the way that Andy likes to deal with his offensive rookies. He doesn't like to put them out there super early and let them get exposed or let them get their confidence knocked down or anything. And he likes to see where they're effective and then kind of work their way in. And like you say, I mean, you look at the stat sheet from yesterday, doesn't look super impressive. Like the whole time I'm sitting there next to my dad at the game, I'm like, I just want them to give him one ball out of the backfield. Well, I saw about 12 of them, and unfortunately they were all between second and third string offensive linemen. So it wasn't exactly what you were looking for, but it's definitely that vote of confidence. And, we're almost halfway through the season here. I would definitely not be surprised if what you're saying comes true and we start to see 3 or 4 carries a game, and then that evolves into 7 or 8 because Kareem Hunt's going to be your third. He's the 3rd and 1 problem. He's the solution, You haven't been able to run the tush push or the QB sneak or anything ever since that weird night in Denver. So Kareem Hunt, that's your job. Now, we're not getting the explosive plays that you've seen from Pacheco in the past, so that's where Brashard Smith can kind of work his way into this, and I think – I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year he's the starting, in air quotes, running back for this team.
Yeah, you brought up. I love you bringing up Xavier Worthy, bringing up Rashee Rice, Pacheco a couple of years ago. Go as far back as Tyreek Hill in 2016, his rookie year.
Yep.
You look at his game logs from his rookie year in 2016. 1 target, 2 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets, 2 targets, 1 target, 6 targets, 5 targets. That was the first 8 weeks of his rookie year. Here are the last 8 weeks of his rookie year in that regular season. 13 targets, 5 targets, 10 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 3 targets, 5 targets, 7 targets. His rookie year, he only had 61 catches on the season and 6 touchdowns. He had less than 600 yards receiving. He was used as a gadget guy in the running game at points. He had almost 300 yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns. I remember vividly there being conversations during his rookie year of like, should the Chiefs just convert him to running back? Thank God they didn't. And he was obviously a remarkable player in terms of the return game. He goes on, after only having 61, and everybody's like, oh, he's just a returner. Well, 75 catches in 2017, 87 catches in 2018. He only had 58 in 2019, but he got hurt. He only played in 12 games. And by the time his career was ending in Kansas City, that last year in 2021, 111 catches. So there is something to be said for how Andy Reid operates with his rookies, specifically on the offensive side of the football. And he does, do that a little bit on the defensive side as well, unless they're an immediate sort of a need guy, right? Unless they're an obvious day one starter, a la a Chris Jones or a Trent McDuffie, right? Leo Chenal, they kind of worked him along. Nick Bolton was a day one starter,
right,
obviously speaking, but Jalen Watson, they gradually worked him in. Brian Cook's a guy they're working in right now. So Andy he doesn't quite, it's not just a figure it out rook kind of a situation. I mean, Mahomes sat his entire rookie year.
Right.
So this is just it kind of feels a little bit like this is just what Andy Reid does.
Well, and Andy is the guy who is in charge of the offense. We all know that, whether you can argue about who's calling plays and whatnot, but when it comes to how we're handling the offense in Kansas City as an organization and everything, that flows through Andy Reid.
No question.
And when it comes to the defense, I think that Spags has earned a ton of respect and a ton of responsibility there. So that's why you see a lot of these guys, just kind of step in and be day one starters on the defense. You don't see that very often on the offense. I mean, really the only one that I can think of as of right now would be Joshua Simmons. And right now, I mean, he's not with the team at the moment, but he's one of the few players in Andy Reid's tenure here that has been drafted and just stuck right into that starting lineup from day one.
No question. 913-586-7965 is our number. Things going from bad to worse for the Baker Mayfield MVP campaign. He just threw a pick with less than a minute and a half to go in the first half, and the Lions now have an opportunity to score and maybe push this thing to a 3-possession game. They already had a shot, missed a field goal. We'll see what they elect to do here with less than a minute to go in the first half. But I want to talk about some injury news for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was not all sunshine and rainbows yesterday. The Chiefs did lose rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott for the entire season. We will detail that injury next, as well as talk about where do we go from here if you are the Kansas City Chiefs with that defense needing help on that front four and the trade deadline quickly approaching in the National Football League. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Nick Price, Logan Weber, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond is worthy of a Shane Company engagement ring. Our team travels the world to see diamonds in person and handpick each one. That type of dedication only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. No matter your budget, your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 5 and 20%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. Visit amfam.com to learn more. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You know that expression, put a little spring in your step? Well, whoever said it must have been talking about Glide Step hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with Glide Step, you get a pillow-like soft landing, then an explosive takeoff. It makes walking feel effortless. So springy, it's almost like you're floating. And speaking of effortless, have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins technology? Just step in, and instantly your shoes are on. No bending down and no touching. Try Glide Step hands-free Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Well, things are going, I guess, up and down for some of the Kansas City Chiefs rookies. We're seeing Brashard Smith get more involved in the offense. Ashton Gelati is seeing a little bit more time on the defensive side of the football, as is Noel Williams. But for the Chiefs, defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott, unfortunately, his season has come to an end. He was diagnosed with a torn ACL today that he suffered in that 31-0 win against the Raiders. So the Chiefs' defensive line problems exacerbated even further. This is a Chiefs defensive front that is now without a second-round pick, a starting defensive line that is already starting Derek Nottie, who, as we have talked about over and over again on this show, is currently graded out as the worst defensive tackle in the National Football League, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, Pro Football Focus is a joke. It's a scam. We may discuss that a little bit later on. I don't trust their grading at all, but I think they're pretty much right on the money with that one. I think that Derek Nottie is deservingly so, graded 119 out of 119.
He must be a really nice guy because they keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not here to try to trash the guy for his play or anything like that, but you just, you see it every Sunday Night Football. You see it up there, and it's tough to look at. So he must just be a delight to be around.
Yeah, especially when you look at Mike Pennell, who the Chiefs cut and then traded for Derek Nottie, and Pennell's having a pretty decent year with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Chris Jones out there calling for them to bring Big Mike Pennell back.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you could afford to do that. You're just going to trade for a guy you cut?
Sounds like a player saying, I want my friend back.
Yeah,
but,
pretty much.
There's a lot that goes into it.
But to his point, I think the Chiefs are going to have to do something. We've already heard reports that they are actively shopping for defensive line help. I think that probably leans more towards the interior of your defensive line, but if it's an edge rusher, so be it. You just need help where you can find it. George Karlaftis, he still has the really strong pressure rate. He's not getting quarterback sacks with any kind of regularity, which is unfortunate. Charles Omenihu, however, has done a good job. He's been getting to the quarterback a little bit more often this year. He would have had a sack against the Raiders had it not been for an illegal contact penalty against Trent McDuffie on a play where it looked like the contact came after Geno Smith had already been wrapped up and was going to get sacked. Regardless, he's been doing a much better job of getting to the quarterback. They're trying to get Ashton Gelati more involved, but, circulating Derek Nottie, Mike Dana, and Jerry Tillery in with consistency along your defensive line is not a great sign. And so this Chiefs team is in desperate need of defensive line help, as if they weren't already. Now you have the loss of Omar Norman Lott. I think it pretty much forces your hand, because you could somewhat justify the Chiefs not trying to acquire a defensive lineman with the thought of, okay, well, they've got Gelati and they've got Norman Lott. They drafted these guys. They're just bringing them along slowly. These guys are going to get more involved in the defense in the second half of the season. They're just kind of biding their time. But with Omar Norman Lott now out for the remainder of the year, you don't have the luxury of waiting on that aha moment for these rookies. You can still do that with Gelati, which is why I say, okay, the edge rusher, you can sort of let bygones be bygones there, because I like the idea of when you get into December and January, having Karlaftis and Omenihu, as well as Ashton Gelati, who I have a lot of belief in who Ashton Gelati is as a player. Not to mention, as the season goes on, I think Jeffrey Bassa can get more comfortable in this defense, and maybe you have opportunities, whether that's just going to a two linebacker set or bringing in Jeffrey Bassa and kicking Leo Chenal down to the defensive line. Lest we forget, this is a guy who was an edge rusher coming out of the University of Wisconsin. He was in a 3-4 system, sort of a TJ Watt style of player when he was at Wisconsin. He played a similar role. A linebacker in the National Football League, but we've seen Spags already this season move him into that front four, putting him as a stand-up DN, putting him in a 2 technique at defensive tackle. So there are some things this Chiefs team is doing, but I think those things are also showcasing to us that they know they're not super strong on that defensive line. Omar Norman Lott is gone. This Chiefs team needs to go out and find defensive line help, and it has to be somebody that you can realistically see being a 3-down guy for this Chiefs defense, because they need help getting to the quarterback more so than anything else.
It's going to have to be a more impactful move than what we've seen the Chiefs like to do in the middle of the season, just because of, it's already an underperforming defensive line. Now, they are doing pretty well in the run game and everything like that. Like, you look at a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs going off tonight against Tampa Bay, and you look at what we saw Kansas City do to him on Sunday Night Football. So it's not a total, this defensive line sucks or anything like that. It's not the sky is falling, but no doubt this team needs a better pass rush than what they're getting right now out of those 4 guys. And they're going to have to go get somebody. It's not going to be a Terrell Suggs or something like that we've seen them do in the past. This is probably going to be something that you're going to want to give up, something in those mid rounds, maybe a 3rd to a 5th round pick to go get somebody who can actually impact this defense for you.
Yeah, a couple of players that are being, thrown around as potential fits for the Chiefs at the deadline. One of those is Trey Hendrickson. However, I think the price tag for trading for Trey Hendrickson is going to be far too high. Not to mention, the Bengals may not be the most willing to make that trade to help the Chiefs get better. Plus, what does Trey Hendrickson provide you beyond this season? I'm not entirely sure if that trade makes a lot of sense. And the Bengals have said they're not going to trade him. So I don't know why Trey Hendrickson is being thrown around so much, other than the fact that he's having to play on the franchise tag, and the Bengals don't seem like – it feels like a very Saquon Barkley style sort of situation where they don't want to give him the long-term deal, but they don't just want to let him walk either. Right. So they put him on the franchise tag, and then they probably will just let him walk this offseason just like the Giants did with Saquon a couple of years ago.
And then he'll go and be the best defensive end in football.
Yeah.
Set the sack record or something like that.
It would make perfect sense. Another guy that's being thrown out, Jalen Phillips with the Miami Dolphins. That Miami team is dead in the water. 1-5. Tua's blaming everybody but himself, despite the fact that he has gone full nickname, full Tua turn of the ball over. And, I mean, it was awful. I don't even remember what NFL game I was watching on Sunday up in the press box where they were showing a highlight of Tua throwing a pick. And at the exact moment they were showing him throwing the pick six, he threw another pick. Like, that's the sort of season that the Dolphins have had. And it started long before Tyreek Hill had the injury issues. So Jalen Phillips is a guy, he's on the fourth year of his rookie contract. Do the Dolphins really think it justifiable to pick up his fifth-year option with all the other issues that they've got going on right now? You have to just stick with Tua Tagovailoa, right? You have to. You're paying him all that money.
It's nowhere to go.
Yeah, you don't have an opt-out until after next season.
You got to fire your coach, too.
Probably.
And that means full-on rebuild. That means, everybody who is making money right now is probably going to be on the market. So I think that the Dolphins make a lot of sense as a trade partner, not to mention these teams have made a trade before.
Kayvon Thibodeau is an interesting name that's being thrown around. As good as he's been, he's on the fifth year of his rookie deal. The Giants, they have Brian Burns, who's on a long-term deal. Abdul Carter's on his rookie contract. They may be willing to part ways with Thibodeau. That's an interesting thought surrounding him. Calais Campbell with the Arizona Cardinals. Is he aging? Yes, but still an above-average player in this league, right? Pro Football Focus, as we go back to this again, grades him as a 71 overall defender, which is above average plus in this league. He's got 11 pressures. He's always been solid in run defense throughout his entire career. It fits that interior defensive line need that the Chiefs currently have, right? Arden Key with the Tennessee Titans is an edge rusher, but a guy that could help you get to the quarterback if that's, a possibility for this Chiefs team. So I think there are some guys out there potentially that could help this Chiefs team, but we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know who the name is, but there has to be a name come to the Chiefs near the trade deadline. There has to be.
Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. This is not, 4 weeks ago wishing that the Chiefs would go out and make a move for a running back. This is a clear deficiency on this team that just got even thinner after the Norman Lott injury on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if within the next 2 weeks you at least see a small move, and then there's probably going to be something a little bit more substantial to it after that.
You've got approximately 15 days. The NFL trade deadline is November 4th, 2 weeks from tomorrow, to get a deal done. And I have all the faith in the world that a guy like Brett Veach is going to find somebody out there that doesn't cost them potentially an arm and a leg when it comes to draft capital, because that's the other handicap surrounding the Chiefs right now. Not only are they pretty thin when it comes to their cap space situation, they're also in a position where their draft capital has to be used for guys who are going to be on this 53-man roster, especially that defense, because there are going to be off-season questions that need to be answered for the Chiefs. And it's way too early to look at some of those things, but Leo Chenal's in year 4. Jalen Watson's in year 4. Trent McDuffie, do you put him on a fifth? Do you pick up the fifth-year player option? Do you try to get a long-term deal done? You've already got a deal done with George Karlaftis. This 2022 draft class, which has been so important in the Chiefs getting to 3 consecutive Super Bowls and trying to vie for a 4th this season, the ugly side of that, of having a big-time draft class, is turning itself right back around, and the Chiefs are going to have to answer for it this offseason. What do they do? And if they let some of those guys go, you're going to need those picks to try to replace some of these guys. You're in a kind of caught between a rock and a hard place right now, where how much is the win now worth sacrificing things you may need in future seasons for this Kansas City Chiefs team?
It's a weird spot. They're in a weird spot for sure. And, one of the things that you look at is, they're going to have a lot more money to spend moving forward because we all think this is Travis Kelce's last year. That cap hit's not there anymore. Jawan Taylor, we all think that it's his last year. That's 2 of your top 5 or 6 cap hits on the team. So there is money to spend, but you have all those 2022 guys coming up. So, I could see them playing it either way. If they fall in love with a guy like Hendrickson and they say, hey, we're going to trade for you and we're going to give you the deal and then we're going to let somebody else walk, that's the only way that I see them really going for the biggest swing in a trade that you could possibly see this season, like during the season.
Yeah, no question. 913-586-7965 is our number. You brought up Jawan Taylor, and this brings about an interesting conversation because for the longest time, we've been talking about it since last season ended, that the Chiefs are going to cut Jawan Taylor after the 2025-26 season is said and done with. And when you saw Josh Simmons in at left tackle at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh, that's even more obvious. And Jalen Moore over the last 2 weeks, you're like, it's even more obvious. I think we might have to pump the brakes on that a little bit because strange things are afoot right now with that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, and it may end up leading to Jawan Taylor being with the Kansas City Chiefs on that big-time deal in 2026. We'll talk about that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside my producer, Nick Price. 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Get 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil, a Wix filter, and a $15 gift card after rebate at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 25 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shields Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000. Or in Mississippi.
I woke up this morning feeling like I was coming down with something. Cough, congestion, headache. My first thought was, nope, this can't happen. I have big plans this weekend. So I took Mucinex Kickstart. It provides all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. Thanks to Mucinex Kickstart, I didn't even need to cancel my weekend plans. If you start feeling cough and congestion coming on, take Mucinex Kickstart for relief with a kick. At your favorite retailer. Use as directed.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a little more.
I'm worth a lot more.
I completely agree. You are worth more, and your car's worth more, and we want to pay more at GiveMeTheVin.com for good cars, because they are worth more, and so are you. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100. For top price, trust, and ease of transaction, GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold each day from noon till 1 on 96.5 The Fan. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
It's a situation that is frankly strange. You know, not going to talk about it any further. But, you know, we've talked for months about, okay, you know, Jawan Taylor in 2026, the Chiefs will probably cut him. You know, once they drafted Josh Simmons, they signed Jalen Moore. It sort of seemed like, okay, Jalen, you know, if Josh Simmons is great, which he was prior to his, you know, leaving the team, that, all right, he's your left tackle of the future. Jalen Moore is probably going to be your right tackle, and Jawan Taylor's going to get cut. Well, this Josh Simmons situation just continues to go on, and nobody seems to know anything, right? Andy Reid was on radio show in Wichita, I believe, today, and said what he'd said last week, you know, that, hey, you know, Veach is handling that, and just move on. Let's just move on from that subject. So it doesn't feel like a situation that's going anywhere, or at least is going to be completed, or I don't know what the right word is. This situation is not going to find a solution anytime soon. So if Josh Simmons is missing a considerable amount of time, or if this is something more serious that may cost him not just weeks or months, but years of his NFL career, possibly, Jawan Taylor may not be going anywhere, folks. And frankly, Jawan Taylor's been pretty good. Mm-hmm. He's been penalized, once in the last 4 weeks? And that was against Jacksonville on a play that wasn't even his fault. He was called for being offsides or in illegal formation, but it was actually Tyquan Thornton who was lined up on the ball covering up Jawan Taylor. So technically that one wasn't even on him. And yesterday against the Raiders, he had 28 pass blocking matchups against Max Crosby, 25 of which were one-on-one. Max Crosby did not have a pressure, didn't have a quarterback hit, did not have a sack in this football game. Jawan Taylor's been pretty damn good this season. And over the last 4 weeks, he's gotten those penalties figured out a little bit more. He's not being picked on quite as much as he used to be. And I feel like we're not hearing anything about Jawan Taylor, which sounds like a good thing. Hour number 2 of the show coming up next. 913-586-7965 is our number. We will go over the Week 7 slate of NFL games as a whole. We'll continue to break down this Monday night game between the Lions and the Bucs and talk some ALCS. We've got a Game 7 going on right now as we speak. Mariners trying to hold on in this series. Meanwhile, you've got a team that in the Blue Jays that, despite going down 2-0, has really, really played well the last 5 games, or the last 4 games. We'll talk about that next. Here on After Hours, Logan Weber, Nick Price, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Yellowstone,
The epic ranching drama is now a Kansas Lottery scratch ticket and your ticket to experiences you can't get anywhere else. Top prize of $25,000, plus second chance drawings that let you live the show. Attend a premiere or visit the set, but know what you're getting into. Just kidding. This is a game, not the show. Play Yellowstone. CKSLottery.com for details.
Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the last 2 minutes of a televised football game,
There's another timeout. We'll be back after this.
it's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause. And Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Hey, almost Andy Reid here. It's been an honor to give back to the community that's embraced me being almost your head coach. Thanks for letting me be part of your team. Renner Garage Door is a teammate of mine that also values the community that they served for decades, always giving back and delivering wins with top brands like Geldon, Amar, and Liftmaster. Need a repair or replacement? Get a free estimate today. Forward and back.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Every day, people in pain are taking control of their health and looking beyond traditional medicine. And that's exactly why QC Kinetics is helping so many people right now. If you're dealing with chronic joint pain, listen up. There are real options beyond steroids, surgeries, and meds. At QC Kinetics, patients are getting lasting relief using cutting-edge regenerative treatments that work at the cellular level. We're talking about revitalizing your joints using growth factors from your own body. It's simple. There's no hospital stays, no surgery, and no downtime. So if your knees, back, or shoulders hurt all the time, don't settle. Be smart. Don't let anyone tell you that surgery is your only choice. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and exercise your freedom to look beyond the same old solutions. Thousands of people across the country are already living better thanks to QC Kinetics. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Saturday appointments available off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone.
The biggest impact I get to make is seeing kids graduate.
I find it the most meaningful to be able to work with kids and see the smiles on their faces when they figure out how to read.
I felt really strongly that my faith was calling me to be a person who serves others.
The only way that things are going to get better is if we all try to lend a hand.
Volunteer in your community. Visit showmeservice.org. Sponsored by the Missouri Community Service Commission and the Corporation for National and Community Service.
This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
It's football season, yeah, but we still got baseball going on. Postseason baseball at that. And I'm not the biggest baseball guy. I have said openly on this show that I'm not a huge baseball fan. Even less so because it feels like everybody's just fighting it out to be cannon fodder for the Dodgers in a potential World Series. However, this ALCS has been very entertaining in the meantime. And it continues right now. Game 7 ALCS, Mariners and Blue Jays, and Seattle just took a 2-1 lead on a Julio Rodriguez solo shot. He's 2 for 2 in this game. Seattle up 2-1. In the first inning, it was an RBI single. An RBI single for Josh Naylor. They got the scoring started for the Mariners. And then in the bottom of the first inning, it was Dalton Varsho knotting things up with a single of his own that scored George Springer. Going to be a battle, man. I mean, 2 solid pitchers on the bump. George Kirby, who had an up and down year this year, versus Shane Bieber, who we hadn't seen much of prior to this season. I mean, he didn't get his first start this year until August 22nd.
August, September. It was right at the end of the year.
After he was traded to the Blue Jays from the Guardians because he had Tommy John surgery and missed pretty much all of the 2024 season and a majority of the 25 season. But these two teams are going to be fighting it out for the opportunity tonight, starting, what is that? What is game 1? Is that next Saturday? This upcoming Saturday?
I think.
Okay, Friday is game 1, where the winner will battle it out with the friggin' Dodgers.
The big bad Dodgers.
Yeah. Are they ruining baseball for everybody? They sure are. But, my God, can we... Listen, folks. I need everybody to lean in here real close, okay? Can we begin... Nick, I'll start with you. Can we begin to have a serious conversation about Shohei Ohtani being the greatest baseball player of all time? Can we have that conversation? Are we ready for that yet?
I mean, we should have been having it already.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, he just put together what I believe to be the single most outstanding individual game of baseball that I've ever witnessed. Mm-hmm. That maybe anybody who's ever had eyes has witnessed. I mean, we've seen guys have unbelievable series, right? Like, in terms of an overall series, this one game does not necessarily surpass, like, what Madison Bumgarner did in that 2014 World Series. I know we all hate to admit it, but that was the single greatest World Series performance of all time.
He put the team on his back. He literally put a baseball team on his back and won a World Series.
He had 3 wins and a save. I mean, he was unreal in that series. But what Shohei Ohtani did on Friday was the single most incredible feat of baseball prowess that has ever been done in a 3-hour period of time. I mean, 3 for 3 with a walk and 3 home runs in the batter's box. He then turns around on the bump and throws 6 scoreless innings of baseball, allowing just 2 hits, 3 walks, and struck out 10. What?
Nobody does that.
Nobody's ever done. I mean,
Nobody's
that's
ever
the
done
most
that.
ridiculous thing I've ever in a series clinching win to go to the World Series. This man single-handedly beat the Brewers. He did it by himself. Do we all understand how absurd that is? One man beat an entire baseball team almost single-handedly.
I think that's where it's a little unfair too, Logan, when we talk about, the Dodgers ruining baseball, which, hand up, I'm one of the guys who are saying the Dodgers are ruining baseball. But I think it takes a little bit away from Shohei Ohtani and how just tremendous he is because they've been able to stack the roster around him. But regardless, it's a team sport in baseball, but it's also a very individual sport. It's one-on-one matchups of pitcher versus batter and playing in the field and everything, like doing the right thing at the right time. And Ohtani seems to just show up in the biggest moments, but also just do the most incredible things that we have never seen before.
I mean, what he did on Friday was so absurd. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of like, oh yeah, that's just Shohei being Shohei, lest we forget, this man didn't pitch at all last year because he had Tommy John surgery, and he didn't start pitching this year until June. And even then, he pitched a total of 4 innings in the month of June. He only threw 11 innings in July. He didn't have a start that went above 4 2/3 innings until August 27th. He had 1 start this entire regular season that went 6 innings. And so far in these playoffs, He's thrown 2 6-inning games, one against the Phillies, where he got the win. He gave up 3 earned runs across 6 innings of work, and then Friday's game against the Brewers, 6 scoreless innings with 10 strikeouts. The guy has 19 strikeouts this postseason to 5 hits across 12 innings of baseball. Oh, and he's just fully capable of hitting 3 home runs in a single game? I'm sorry. Listen. Recency bias be damned, and him not having a super long baseball career be damned. Yeah, is Shohei Ohtani gonna surpass 762 career home runs? No, right? He's 31 years old. He's got 280 career home runs right now. He might get to 450, 500 maybe,
right,
if he really extends himself, in his career. He might approach like 1,000 RBIs. He's not going to get to 2,000 hits. I don't care. I think that this man is the greatest individual baseball talent to ever put on cleats.
Well, and, on the text line here from the 816, talking about the slump that Ohtani was in throughout much of the postseason from the plate, and to show up in the biggest moment and hit 3 home runs while you're also out there punching 10 guys out. It's unheard of. It's video game numbers from this guy. Not only does he hit home runs, he mashes home runs. Like, he hits some of the farthest balls I've ever seen. And being a baseball nut, a guy who grew up watching baseball, loving baseball and everything, like I said before, the whole Dodgers ruining baseball, I think what's really happening is that it's ruining the perception of Ohtani, because Ohtani should be the hero of baseball, the greatest player that we've ever seen, and everyone should just be watching and appreciating what they're seeing. And instead, the narrative switches to, well, the Dodgers are ruining baseball because they spend all this money and nobody else can compete.
It's unfortunate, right? And I will say, I think some of that is on the shoulders of Shohei Ohtani because he chose to sign with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers offered him the money, so why wouldn't you take it and join a team that already has featured players like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith and Clayton Kershaw, and then it's like, oh, you guys are going to bring in, Roki Sasaki and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. You're going to bring in Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell and Blake Treinen. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier.
I can't fault the player there.
No, everybody
I can't fault
get in the
Shohei.
boat, right? The slump that Ohtani, he was hitting 158 in the postseason going into that game. He's now hitting 220. One game of baseball.
I'd love to see what his slug went to.
His slugging went from a 368 to a 634. His OPS in one game rose from a 641 to a 967.
That's insanity.
340-point jump in his OPS in one game of baseball. All righty. Yeah. Oh, and lest we forget, he still threw 6 scoreless innings and struck out 10 and won the game on the mound. Yeah, he's the greatest baseball player.
Yeah, but Babe
of all
Ruth
time.
was better. So
I'm sorry. Somebody in the text line brings that up. He said this is what Babe Ruth was like. Yeah, except Babe Ruth wasn't doing it at the exact same time. He's doing both of these things simultaneously.
Guys also weren't like 6'7" and 300 pounds and hitting 500-foot home runs back then.
Listen, I'm not trying to be mean, but
it's a different game.
Babe Ruth sees a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, his face would melt. I'm sorry. Stop it. I'm not having this. I'm not having this discussion. 6'2", 215, and that guy was the peak, and he was a heavy set 215.
Oh yeah.
I'm
hot
not
dog
hearing
and
it, bro.
beer 215.
I'm not trying to hear that. I'm really not. I mean, he wasn't doing these things at the same time. Everybody brings up Babe Ruth. Okay, Babe Ruth, yeah, he had 147, or excuse me, not even 147. He was 94 and 46 in his career as a starter. He started 163 games. However, 36, 80, 121 of those starts came between 1914 and 1917. And in that same time frame, between 1914 and 1917, Babe Ruth had less than 500 at-bats. So he wasn't doing both of them. He wasn't the best pitcher on the planet, one of the best pitchers on the planet, and the best hitter on the planet. He wasn't doing those two things at the same time. No,
he basically, he took his turn pitching, and he took the rest of his time behind the plate.
Yeah, I mean, Shohei Ohtani has finished in the top 5 of the MVP and Cy Young voting in the same year for different reasons. Like, he finished second in the MVP voting in 2021 or 2022. Probably should have won it, if we're being honest. Hitting .273 with a .356 on base percentage, an OPS of .870. He had 34 home runs, 95 RBIs. And in that same season, in 2021, he was 9-2 on the bump in 23 starts with a 3.18 ERA, and he struck out 156 batters. He had a whip of 1.09. Dude, he's ridiculous. And I hate that he plays for the Dodgers because everybody should hate the Dodgers. I tell you who hates the Dodgers, probably the other 29 general managers and owners in Major League Baseball who are going to collectively come together and pretty much cancel the 2027 Major League Baseball season. Let's all collectively get our brains ready for that massive lockout that is going to hit.
This is going to be the biggest change that you've seen in baseball, or at least attempted change, probably in the history of the sport.
Yeah,
coming up in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, fair point. The same person said, he's the only other player that hit and pitched was Babe Ruth. He's like, that's the only reason he's brought up.
Oh, 100%.
It's just how much of a
100%.
unicorn Ohtani. Yeah. Babe Ruth was the guy who pitched and he hit, but the fact that he did it at separate points in his career, and Shohei is doing both of them at the same time in a game to go to the World Series, and he was the better. There's like 9 Hall of Famers arguably on that field in that game on Friday, and he is head and shoulders the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Like, you go into that game and you're like, okay, there's Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith and Clayton Kershaw and, Blake Snell's on that Dodgers team, and the Brewers have got Christian Yelich, and they've got a ton of young, really impressive players. Don't matter. If it's Shohei Ohtani or the field in that game on Friday, everybody's picking Shohei Ohtani.
The thing is, too, is you look at, how difficult it is. Look at, like, the Ichiro situation and everything to be a unanimous induction into the Hall of Fame in your first year. Shohei could retire tomorrow. He's got to be unanimous. No doubt about it.
Gotta be, man. Yeah, there's
that one baseball writer that'll come out and vote no just because that's what baseball writers do. But.
Right. He's about to win. Will this be his third MVP or his fourth? It's
getting hard to keep track of.
It's at least his third. But if I remember right, he did win an MVP when he was with the Angels. Or 2 of them, actually. Because he won MVP in 2021. Probably should have won it in 2022. And then won it 23, 24. He's going to win it again. Legitimate argument to be had that this man should have won the MVP 5 consecutive years. That 2022 season, they gave it to Paul Goldschmidt. Okay, yeah, Goldie had a good year. 317 batting average, 404 on base percentage. He had an OPS of 981, 35 homers, 115 ribbies. All right.
That also, though, at the same time, kind of seems like a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen situation of, we can't give it to him every year.
Yeah. Or I guess that would have been the 2020, 2021. 2022, he's still with the Angels. That was Aaron Judge. That was the 62 home run year.
That's fair.
Okay. Valid. He had a WAR of 11. Okay. 62 homers, 131 RBIs. Yeah, OPS of 1,100 probably doesn't go to Ohtani that year. Fair. I digress on that one. But, Shohei did go 15-9 with a 2.33 ERA and hit 34 home runs. That seems pretty freaking ridiculous. I think he's the best baseball player of all time. And I think I will continue to believe that as long as I live at this point. And he's 31 years old, 31 years old, so he could still play for a considerable while longer. 913-586-7965 is our number. We're going to get back into some NFL conversation. We're going to review the week that was Week 7 in the National Football League, as well as discuss what's happening in this Monday night game between the Lions and the Buccaneers. Detroit trying to bounce back, the Buccaneers trying to solidify themselves as the top team in the NFC. Logan Weber here alongside Nick Price. You're listening to After Hours on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first TD score wager with confidence today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back and unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Century Roofing has done it again. Voted best roofing company in Johnson County for the 4th year in a row. If you didn't get your roof inspected after last year's hailstorms and your neighbors are getting new roofs, you might have damage too. Don't wait. Book your free inspection today and take advantage of our free material upgrade sale. This can mean big savings on your insurance premium. Trust the pillars of strength with female-owned Century Roofing. CenturyRoofingKC.com. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength.
Flu season is here. Get your flu shot today at your local Hy-Vee pharmacy. It's easy, convenient, and no appointment is necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. That's right, a 20-cent fuel saver. Get your flu shot when it's convenient for you. Schedule online or just stop by your Hy-Vee pharmacy. No appointment necessary. Help your family stay healthy. Get your flu shot and get a 20-cent fuel saver only at Hy-Vee. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
Hey, Zach. Are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbors' attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching.
Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet. And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
96.5 The Fan is your exclusive home for Chiefs football. With pregame starting 3 hours before kickoff with Josh Briscoe. Then it's the call of the game with Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Travis Kelce owning this game!
Followed by postgame coverage featuring exclusive one-on-one interviews with Andy Reid and Chiefs players inside the locker room. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, we're going to break down Week 7 in the NFL here in just a moment, but I have to get something off my chest. I think Pro Football Focus needs to Control-Alt-Delete reboot itself. Because it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to quarterback grading.
I knew where you were going with this one.
Oh my God. I'm looking at a tweet here showing just a few of the quarterbacks and where they graded in the NFL in Week 7. Patrick Mahomes got a grade of 62.2 yesterday. Mind you, Pro Football Focus starts players out at a 60. That is their baseline, and you move up or down from there depending on how you perform, positively, negatively. You start out at 60. Patrick Mahomes at 62.2 in a game where he completed 74% of his passes for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. 62.2. Jaden Daniels had a grade of 63.5 yesterday in a game where he finished 12 of 22 passing with 156 yards and 1 passing touchdown. Had a higher grade than Mahomes. Caleb Williams had a higher grade, 63.8. Caleb Williams yesterday against the Saints, for reference, everybody, 15 of 26 passing, 172 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Completed less than 60% of his passes for under 200 passing yards, did not throw for a touchdown, and he had a pick. Had a higher Pro Football Focus grade than Patrick Mahomes.
This is just going to show that Pro Football Focus grades don't mean anything.
Nothing.
And it seems like it's become such a big part of the NFL culture, too, is talking about these PFF grades and tweeting them out after every game and all that kind of stuff. But when you're saying that the guy who led his offense to 31 points in 3 quarters and really didn't make any mistakes and played a very clean game is not rated much higher than what you start out, what the baseline is, that's just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, and he did have a couple of turnover-worthy plays, right? If we're looking at Patrick Mahomes' day yesterday, there was the tipped pass that went right through the hands of the DB and fell into Juju's lap, the most obvious one, where that probably should have been a pick, but it's just one of those days where if it's going good, it's going great, and he got away with one. Does that mean that Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams deserve to have a better Pro Football Focus grade? No, I don't think so. Bo Nix had a grade of 66.7. That is 4.5 points higher than Mahomes. What did Bo Nix do yesterday for the Broncos? Well, give him credit. He did lead them to 33 points in the fourth quarter against the Giants. We'll get into that later. He was 27 of 50 for 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. 279, 2 touchdowns, no picks is a pretty good day. But he did it on 50. He had 1 more completion than Patrick Mahomes did on 15 more attempts. And he had less yards and touchdowns than Mahomes did. Had a higher grade. And here's the coup de grace. My favorite one. With a grade of 67.2, 5 points higher than Patrick Mahomes this week, according to Pro Football Focus, Geno Smith.
Oh, my God.
Geno Smith had a higher Pro Football Focus grade than Mahomes did. What your company should be liquidated.
He had quite possibly one of the worst quarterback games without a turnover in the history of football. Like just one of the least effective games that we've ever seen. And you're going to say that he performed better? It makes no sense. It's dumb.
A man who threw for 67 yards in a game had a higher grade than Mahomes did. What in the... I can't. I got to move on because that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm going to stop. I mean, the Derek Nottie Pro Football Focus thing makes me laugh, but outside of that, Pro Football Focus serves no purpose anymore.
This is the only purpose right here is for people to get mad at the Pro Football Focus grades.
And somehow it's like $1 billion company, right? Somebody continues to give them money all the time. We continue to talk about them. So everybody's going to their Pro Football Focus page right now to Google this to see if this is true or not. Maybe we should just stop talking about them at all. Maybe they would just just fade into obscurity.
Well,
God, I don't know.
clearly the Pro Football Focus grades, they don't mean anything. It's not real football, but there was a lot of good real football on this weekend.
You darn right there was good football this weekend. Let's start with, of course, the Thursday night game, the Unk Bowl. That was fun. Bengals Steelers. I did not have Flacco going for 340 and 3 touchdowns on my bingo card last week, but here we are. I mean, outplaying Aaron Rodgers in a game where both quarterbacks played pretty well. I mean, Rodgers had 2 pretty egregious interceptions, but I don't know. The Bengals are a team. If Flacco can keep them treading water, right? They're sitting at 3-4 right now. If Burrow is healthy in like late November, early December, if he's back, and this Bengals team is 6-7, 7-7 with 3 or 4 games left in the year, Bengals still have a shot at making the playoffs. They still have a shot at winning their division because that AFC North is not wowing anybody.
They just beat the team that's in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
And, that was such a fun game to watch on Thursday night. I even got my fiance, who is not a football fan, but I got her into it because she had watched the Rodgers documentary on Netflix with me. And, she just loves to see the old guys out there still playing the game. And I was telling her, I'm like, hey, it's 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers against 40-year-old Joe Flacco on his 74th team. And they're just slinging it tonight. And she was even, she was getting into it. She's like, ooh, so now it's 3rd down and everything. I'm like, there you go.
There you go.
You got it.
Heck yeah. Battle between 2 guys. Winner gets their AARP card before the other. It was a fun game to watch. What wasn't fun was the London game on Sunday. Rams, Jaguars. Hey, that Rams team that I was so confident the Chiefs would beat because I thought they were a fake. I did not have, I didn't believe in it. Yes.
Yeah.
I did not have belief in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, what have they done since they beat the Chiefs? Lost 2 games in a row and got drubbed by the Rams on Sunday morning. Stafford threw for 5 touchdowns and had less than 200 yards through the air. The Rams didn't even have 300 yards of total offense in this game, and they won 35-7. Trevor Lawrence completed less than 50% of his passes. Travis Etienne was pretty much ineffective in this football game.
I would like to point out, too, that the Rams were missing their best player, one of the top players in all of the NFL in Puka Nacua.
Correct, and still put 5 passing touchdowns on their head. Bears and Saints, Spencer Rattler, he continues to play okay football, but he's making mistakes. Threw 3 picks yesterday. He was sacked 4 times. Caleb Williams provided just enough, right? I mean, DeAndre Swift had his best game as a Bear on Sunday, and Kyle Monange, how about him? 2-headed running back attack for the Bears combined for 225 yards on the ground between those 2 guys. They looked really, or 205 yards, I should say, on the ground between those 2 guys. Bears win it 26-14. Chicago is 4-2.
And
Think about that.
That was a 4.5-point spread, too. Vegas thought that game was going to be a lot closer. I mean, I thought that game was going to be a lot closer than it was.
This Bears team is 4-2. They've got the Ravens coming up this week, which may or may not include Lamar Jackson. You play the Bengals next week, and then the New York Giants. There is an outside possibility that the Chicago Bears could be 7-2 before a November 16th matchup on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. Didn't see that one coming. The Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins in the yuck game of the week here in the National Football League, and the yuck was the Dolphins. Tua turned the ball over with 3 picks in this football game. He only had 100 yards passing. He got benched for Quinn Ewers. Dylan Gabriel only threw for 116, but he didn't turn the football over. Quinshon Judkins' rookie hat trick out of the backfield as the Browns dominated the Dolphins 31-6. Miami is 1-6 now. It is fire sale time for the Fins.
How does McDaniel still have a job?
They say that they have no plans of moving on from head coach Mike McDaniels as of right now.
This seems like something that should have come out either last night or first thing this morning.
I agree. It's like Luke Fickell at Wisconsin in college football right now. Like every day that goes by, I go to bed wondering, like, how does that man still have a job right now?
I'm expecting the notification from Adam Schefter at any moment, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Not happening.
Talk about a team that has quit on their coach.
Quit on their coach, quit on their quarterback, in my opinion. But unfortunately for Mike McDaniels, you can't get rid of Tua Tagovailoa because that man is due a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
The New England Patriots dominated the Titans on Sunday 31-13. New England, you've got your guy. Drake May is a franchise quarterback in this league. He had as many touchdown passes yesterday as incompletions. 21 of 23 for 222 and 2 touchdowns. So many twos in that stat line. Despite being sacked 4 times, he had a phenomenal day. He also had 62 yards rushing in this one. And the Patriots have seemingly chosen who their RB1 is going to be, and it's not rookie Travion Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson, 18 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown in this football game. The Patriots are a football team that is 5-2 right now. And here's an underlying stat for this Patriots team. They're 5-2, 4-0 on the road, including their last 3 games. They've got the Browns this week, the Falcons next week. They themselves could be 7-2 before they go on the road to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do not pencil in the Buffalo Bills as the division winner of the AFC East just yet, because I think the Patriots could have something to say about it.
There's a handful of these teams, the Patriots, the Bears are one of them, where they're off to a surprising start from what we expected. But also, the next few weeks of the schedule is pretty favorable for them. So don't be surprised if the Patriots are sitting there in a few weeks with 6, 7, 8 wins. And not only do they have their guy at quarterback, they got their guy at head coach.
100%.
Mike Vrabel is the perfect fit there.
No question.
And in 1 year has been able to do what it seems like they haven't been able to do since Tom Brady left.
No question about it. I think Mike Vrabel, he was a great coach in Tennessee. You knew he was going to land on his feet somewhere. Just happened to be with his old club with the New England Patriots, and they have hit the ground running. Speaking of 5-2 football teams that are seemingly trending in the opposite direction, Philadelphia Eagles won on Sunday. They beat the Vikings 28-22, but there just seems to be something wrong. Like something doesn't feel right with this Eagles team. Jalen Hurts, really bad in the first half. Phenomenal in the second half of action. 19 of 23 passing, 326 and 3 touchdowns, no picks, and he did a majority of his damage in the second half. But the defense giving up 22 points to a Carson Wentz-led Vikings offense, a little skeptical at best. And Saquon Barkley, virtually ineffective. This man is currently 3rd in the National Football League in carries and is 22nd in yards. That is not typical of Saquon Barkley. He is averaging less than 3.5 yards a carry for this Eagles team this season after having a 2K rushing year last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. And the biggest reason why, this Philly offensive line is not the same as in years past.
No.
Hurts was sacked several times last week. He was sacked 3 times this week. They averaged 2 yards a carry on the ground, Philly did. I know they're a 5-2 football team. I am not fearful of the Philadelphia Eagles at this moment.
They're not the same team that they were last year. Last year's team in Philly was incredible. They had an awesome offense. They had a historic running back season from Saquon, and they had one of the best defenses that the NFL has seen in a long time. They lost a ton of starters on that defense, and the offense just doesn't seem to be picking it up at the same rate that we've seen in the past. So, I mean, yeah, they're 5-2. The NFC's pretty tough, though. There's a lot of good teams in the NFC. I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting to pile up some losses here before they figure it out.
Let's have some more fun. Let's talk about a team that I did not realize until yesterday has a winning record. The Carolina Panthers are 4-3. I'll repeat. The Carolina Panthers are 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
They beat a really bad Jets team yesterday, 13-6. Justin Fields got benched in favor of Tyrod Taylor, who somehow was worse. Tyrod Taylor was 10 of 22 passing yesterday, 126 yards. Not terrible compared to the 46 passing yards Justin Fields had, but he threw 2 picks and had no touchdowns. At least Justin Fields didn't turn the ball over. Breece Hall is in proverbial hell right now in the National Football League, 11 for 38 yards. In the second half of this game, the Carolina Panthers finally got their heads out of their rears and said, Chuba Hubbard's not having a great day. Let's give it to Rico Dowdle, the guy that had 200-plus yards of total offense in back-to-back weeks. Well, that's what they did in the second half. He finished with 79 yards on 17 carries. Meanwhile, Chuba Hubbard had 31 yards on 14 carries. We'll see what they elect to continue to do moving forward. And Xavier Legette had probably his best day in the NFL so far through a season and a half, 9 for 92 through the air. He had a receiving touchdown in this game as well. Now, how long Carolina will stay above 500? I don't think very long, because they've got the Bills this week, and then they've got to go on the road to play the Packers on November 2nd. But they come back with games against the Saints, at the Falcons, at the 49ers, who just continue to have injury issues. I'm not saying Carolina makes the playoffs, but this is a Carolina Panthers team that could win 7 or 8 games, which nobody saw coming.
They're not just an automatic win on the schedule anymore.
No
and
question.
It's not a thing where, we're watching the Bucs struggle tonight. They've been the class of that division for a couple of years. You see the Falcons come out and do some flashy things, but not only are the Panthers frisky, the Saints are kind of frisky too. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be a tougher division than people think.
Damn you, New York. The New York Giants absolutely collapse in the fourth quarter against the Denver Broncos. I'm watching this game. I'm watching the first 3 quarters, and I'm like, it's going to be a perfect day for the Chiefs. Chiefs win against the Raiders. The Chargers are going to lose. The Broncos are going to lose. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs are right there in a 3-way tie with the Chargers and the Broncos atop the AFC West. And here we go. The division's theirs to lose again. Well, what do the Giants do? Absolutely lay an egg. They were up 19-0 in this football game at the start of the fourth quarter. The Broncos score 33 points in the final 15 minutes. 33 and a quarter. Bo Nix, 27 of 50, 279, 2 touchdowns, and a majority of that came in that fourth quarter. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns in the fourth quarter to go along with 48 yards rushing. Meanwhile, the Giants, their most effective running game was actually Tyrone Tracy. He had that 31-yard rushing touchdown, the only rushing touchdown for the Giants outside of their quarterback, Jackson Dart, who had a 4-touchdown day, but he wasn't very accurate. 15 of 33, but he had 283 through the air, 3 touchdowns, and a costly interception. He was sacked 4 times. The Giants should have won this damn football game. They choked it away, and now the Denver Broncos are alone in first place in the AFC West. Hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it. You then had the Colts and the Chargers, and the Chargers continue to struggle. The injuries are starting to take its toll. Colts win it 38-24. I think proving to everybody, including yours truly, this team's for real a little bit. I'm not saying they're for real like they're the team to beat in the AFC or anything, but this is a legitimate playoff team.
They can make a really good run at the 1 seed, too.
Yes, absolutely, as of right now.
They could be like a Tennessee kind of 1 seed where it's like, maybe that's a 1-year kind of thing.
If this Bucs-Lions game continues, they are going to have the best record in the National Football League at the end of tonight. They're going to be the only 1-loss team left in the league. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, baby, 23 of 34.
It's the perfect nickname and the perfect spot for him.
288, 2 touchdowns.
I think the biggest thing to come out of this game, though, is that the Chargers, still the Chargers.
Chargers are still the Chargers, man. Herbert, 37 of 55, 420 through the air, 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 really bad picks in this football game. He was sacked 3 times, and that doesn't even tell the story because this man is running for his life right now with all the injury issues in LA. And he was their leading rusher. I mean, Kamani Vidal, who had a good week last week, 9 carries for 20 yards. They had no running game to speak of. Jonathan Taylor, hat trick. Pretty unbelievable for the Indianapolis Colts in yesterday's game. Cowboys throttled the Commanders. Packers narrowly escaped the Cardinals. I really don't know how good the Packers are.
Micah Parsons is good.
Micah Parsons is good, but how good are the Packers? They're an enigma right now. They're a 4-1-1 football team who just aren't really impressive for some reason. And then the Niners, with all the injuries, are still winning football games. They're 5-2. They beat the Falcons yesterday, 20-10 on Sunday Night Football. I didn't anticipate that one. But here we are. Man, we went really long on that segment, but that's all right. We might take back-to-back breaks here, come back and wrap up the show next. We'll talk about Lions, Buccaneers, preview a little bit of what we might see from Seahawks and Titans, and harken you guys back to this Game 7 matchup between the Mariners and the Blue Jays as Seattle is looking to really solidify control of this baseball game tonight. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber, Nick Price, 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold each day from noon till 1 on 96.5 The Fan. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
Football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the action. And right now, on the Missouri side, where you can select entries and win money. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower than stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Plus, get your entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash over at Underdog. They also have ladders and streaks, pick'ems and champions, and so many different ways to play that you can make those selections at Underdog and win money right now on the Missouri side. So download the app today, sign up using promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets at underdogfantasy.com/web/playing at terms_DFS_.html for details. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
With only 4 teams left in the playoff picture, who do you have pulling through to play for it all? Catch every pitch of the championship series at Twin Peaks, where the bases are loaded and 29-degree drafts are up to bat. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
He's a world arm wrestling champion, Michael Todd.
I'm globally known as Monster Michael Todd. I'm 52 years old. I've won 23 world titles and 36 national titles.
This tough guy never backs down, but a horrible bicep injury almost ended his career. Enter QC Kinetics and life-changing regenerative treatments.
Most people thinking that I'd never be able to compete again. Within 8 months, I became number 5 overall in the world. Now I'm marching towards that #1 spot.
So how did he do it?
I'm a big regenerative medicine kind of guy. Once I found out about QC Kinetics, I wanted to try their protocol.
Those treatments use a patient's own orthobiologics concentrated and placed into the troubled area to help heal and restore the damage. No scalpels or harmful meds, just long-term relief.
QC Kinetics definitely have helped me be able to live this dream and be able to do what I want to do and continue to do it for a lot more years.
When the others say, time for surgery, you're finished. Not so fast. Call QC Kinetics. The consultation's totally free.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey, Mr. C, it's me. Well, I just picked up the ring. I actually went to Hellsberg. Thanks for that recommendation. Kate's gonna love that hers is from the same jeweler you got Mrs. C's ring from. They were so helpful throughout the whole process. They even knew your family by name. And the ring looks great. Anyways, I just couldn't wait to let you guys know. Call me back and wish me luck.
Hellsberg, designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Fast cars, barbecue, and live music. Bring the family for Burnouts, a car show, Kid Zone, and Chris Jansen live Saturday night. It's Boost in Barbecue next Friday, October 24th, and Saturday, October 25th at Flying H Drag Strip, Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free. Online at boostandbbq.com.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a lot more.
And I completely agree. That's why I'll pay more for your car at GiveMeTheVin.com. That's the name of our new campaign. I'm worth more. You are worth more, and your car's worth more, and that's why I will pay more. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100 at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Every Kansas City neighborhood has its own buyer preferences and price points. Dawn Sharp at the Sharp Homes team's deep understanding of various neighborhoods means they know exactly what buyers in your specific market are looking for and willing to pay. And then the Sharp Homes team can give you options. Do you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold? Contact them to discuss their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Google them, Sharp Homes team, and start packing.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth. Why not start today?
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
I am the greatest fan in KU history.
I'm the greatest fan in K-State history.
I only wear crimson and blue.
I drive a purple car.
This will never be settled. That's why Kansas Lottery has the Rivalry Riches Scratch Ticket. You could win up to $50,000 instantly and great game day experiences through the Kansas Lottery Play-On app.
I have a Jayhawk tattooed on the arm of a Jayhawk that's tattooed on my arm.
All my children are named Willie.
See KSLottery.com for details.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Well, it certainly appears as if the Detroit Lions are going to be able to bounce back from that 30-17 loss to the Chiefs last week. Up 24-9 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Baker is trying his best, almost threw another pick. He's 20 of 34 passing right now, so that part of your parlay hit there, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
You had him at what, 33?
32.
Over 32?
32, yep.
Solid. He's got 154 yards, one touchdown, no pick, or one pick. Just threw another incompletion, so he's 20 of 35 passing. Lions up 24-9. So this score holds. The Lions will go to 5-2. Bucks will fall to 5-2, meaning they will be tied in the NFC with the Eagles, the Niners, and the Rams for the best records in the NFC at 5-2 apiece. The Seahawks could join that group with a win tonight if they beat the Houston Texans, who are off to a slow start. They're 2-3 this season. Meanwhile, in baseball, the Seattle Mariners are holding on to a 3-1 lead over the Toronto Blue Jays. A Cal Raleigh home run in the 5th inning. That's an exciting one for him. His 5th of this postseason has given the Mariners that 2-run advantage. Remarkable pitching performance, though, for George Kirby in this game. In a Game 7, a guy who had an up-and-down year this year, he goes 4 innings, gives up just 1 earned run on 4 hits, struck out 3, and then pitching a scoreless 5th inning was Brian Wu. So the Mariners trying to hold on. Again, the winner of that series advances to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in a game that, if you push it to a 6th game, is impressive. I don't think either one of these teams is in any way, shape, or form capable of beating the Dodgers in 7 games. But if you can make it somewhat interesting, you can win a game or 2 in that series, extend it a little bit. Great.
I can't wait to see the map of who everyone's rooting for when it's just one tiny little blue dot over the city of LA, and that's about it.
And then everybody else is in either some sort of greenish for the Mariners or a different shade of blue when it comes to the Blue Jays. Maybe it's a red thing. Is that a strip sack of Baker Mayfield? I didn't see who recovered it, but not going well for Tampa. For my producer, Nick Price, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight. We'll be back with you tomorrow night from 6 to 9 p.m. You've been listening to After Hours on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. 8